All right, so now I want to talk about the idea or concept that was the idea that I wanted to do a lesson on quite a while ago, which is, again, in those REH books, Don Mock or whoever that was. And this idea, I think he did it actually down here. I think that's where it was, but we're going to do this in, basically you could think of it as A minor or C major. So there's no sharps or flats, okay? So basically it's really similar. It's almost exactly the same thing. But here you're just thinking of two arpeggios. Okay, the first one is going to be your G major arpeggio. Okay, so we're going to start with the second inversion of that arpeggio. So it starts on the B note, 7th fret of the E string, and then it goes to the 5th fret of both the A and the D string. So that's your major third root. Major third fifth then root. Then it goes to an F major arpeggio. So you have, and again, you could slide it, you can approach it from a half step below. So the 7th fret on the A string, slide to the 6th fret of the A string. Then you play the 7th fret of the D string and the 5th fret of the G string. So that whole thing together is. Now you're going back to that G major arpeggio. So you're alternating between just two arpeggios as opposed to the Michael Landau lick, which had 4 arpeggios in it. So here you have. Then you go to G major, which is again, this is a second inversion. You're starting on the major third, which is the 9th fret of the D string. You play the 7th fret of the G string and the 8th fret of the B string. So that whole thing so far is. And again, I'm approaching everything from a half step below, except for that first note, which you can do. So that last arpeggio, you're going back to an F major arpeggio. So you have your 10th fret of the G string, 10th fret of the B string, and 8th fret of the E string. So that whole thing is. Now, if you want to keep going up, you can go up to the next inversion of G, which would be, which obviously these are just a half step apart. So you have F, you have G, you have F, G, F, G, F, G. So you can just, again, this concept is just alternating between two different arpeggios. So you can do that in anything, and this is where it becomes cool. So now, if you know your chord progression, you could just pick out 2 arpeggios or 3 arpeggios and just start interjecting them into your soloing. So if you're in the key of C major, you can go from C major to D minor, right? So you have, then you have C major, then D minor, or D minor 7. So, and you just keep finding those arpeggios. Say if you want to do like C major and D major. You have C major here, to D major, to C major, to D major, C major, D major, C, D. And you can just keep exploring. And again, that was just on the D, G, and B string, but you can find them on all the strings. And the cool part about this idea is you really start, you start really seeing where your chords are, and you start separating your chords into 3-note voicings. So you could start using that in your rhythm playing. Not just your lead playing, but your rhythm playing too. You can do something where, say you're just playing over an A minor groove. Instead of just playing that A minor 7 chord, you can play the A minor chord up here. So, or you could start interjecting other chords that are within that same key. So, you'd have G major. That'll work. These 3 notes of that triad. So you can actually do something like this. So all you're doing now, you're really just thinking about the notes that are in the scale, and you're using just parts of it as opposed to a full chord. You're just using, you know, 3 notes, or even just the 2 notes here. So instead of having this whole chord or this whole chord, you can just use the top 2 notes. So now you're just it's a different way of thinking as opposed to full-on chords. And that's what's so cool about this idea. It's not just a soloing technique, it's actually a rhythmic technique that you could use too. So again, I would just experiment with this. I don't want to drag this into a huge lesson. We are going to talk more about this because there is so much more to get into about phrasing these arpeggios and doing all that kind of stuff, and then actually getting into substituting other arpeggios for certain ones to actually make it sound a little strange. Like one concept we'll talk about eventually is using arpeggios in a way where you're not even really concerned with what key you're in, because a triad by itself is so strong in its structure, a root, third, and a fifth, that it can live on its own, and even though it may be totally outside the key, it sounds cool and not too outside because it has so much form within itself. And I'll show you an example of that. So let's do just a quick groove over like an A drone note. I wish I had a backing track, but in the future I'll do a lesson on this kind of thing because it really is a cool topic. But right now let me just do like an A minor pentatonic thing and throw in a triad that shouldn't exist or work. And I'll show you how it really actually just adds a little tension. It sounds cool because it's strong living on its own, being that it's just a triad. So you have... So that wasn't anything impressive. I mean, it's kind of hard to just noodle around like that. But if you look at that real quick, again, I was just playing pentatonic stuff with the flat 5 in there. Then I threw in that arpeggio there, which is really an A major arpeggio over A minor. So this note works fine because it's the 11th or the 4th. That note is a little strange because it's the minor 6th. But that note especially doesn't work because you have an A sharp or a B flat, but it's basically the flat 9 over A, which just sounds out. But when you play that in context, it's more like a passing tone at that point. Or if you go down, here's A minor pentatonic, here's A minor, right? A minor 7. You have that A minor chord. Well, if you just move that up a half step, that shouldn't work. And it really doesn't. But if you incorporate it in the middle of something, so you have... and then you resolve down, it actually works because it almost just adds tension in there. Now, you don't want to sit on any of these triads, but it's a cool little way of interjecting something that, you know, if you're locked into playing minor pentatonic over A minor pentatonic over A minor groove, well, if you start thinking a half step above or below, or if you start thinking about substituting a flat 5 triad in there or whatever, you'll start getting some tones that may not be really strong to just sit on, but to incorporate them, it's just a really cool technique. So Anyway, we got a little off track. I hope you liked that lesson. If you enjoyed that, please subscribe or click like or any of those kind of things, because that really helps us know that you guys do like what's going on. Also, feel free to comment and send us emails. We try and respond to as many of those as we can. And check out guitarbreakdown.com. There's going to be a whole bunch of stuff up there that I keep saying that, but I'm really trying to get to that this month. By the end of the year, it'll be up. But definitely check that out and keep coming back. And I hope you enjoyed that, and we'll see you on the next lesson. Thanks.